So I'm gonna share a story with you guys. It was kind of crazy. This happened to me a couple of years ago, pretty early on. I think I had just got off of orientation as a nurse in the ER. So I was helping out in triage, and someone from the lobby came in and they were like, "Hey, there's someone out here in the outer bathroom that needs help." I was like, "Okay, what happened?" And they're like, "I don't know. I think they like fell down or something." So I go to investigate, go over there. It's in the women's restroom. I open the door and I could see in the very back stall, sure enough, there's a body slumped over in the floor. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm knocking on the door, no response. So I'm like, all right, I got to get in here. So I laid on my back, shimmied underneath the door, and there's this man laying there with his pants around his ankles, and he is not looking too good. I can see that he's breathing, so I check for a pulse. He had a pulse, and I'm like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, wake up." And then one of the older nurses walked in, and he looks at the person, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Josh, that person is dead." I'm like, "No, they're not. Like, they're breathing. Like, I just checked their pulse." And like right at that moment, they stop breathing. The chest rise and fall is no longer there. I check a pulse again, and the pulse is now gone. So I'm like, oh my gosh, get a stretcher. I start CPR. We use radios in that ER, so I'm like, we have to code this person. Like, what room are we going to? Get a stretcher in here. One of the techs shows up. She takes over on CPR. Me and the older nurse lift this person up onto the bed. The tech jumps up on top of him and is straddling him and doing compressions, and I'm wheeling the bed through the hallway back towards the ER. Granted, I'm new and I'm not like the best driver when it comes to hospital beds, so I'm like freaking out, like, which room are we going to? Meanwhile, I'm pushing the bed and I'm like, it's just going like this through the hallway. um, so we finally get him back into a room. They push some Narcan. Narcan's a crazy drug, so within 20 seconds, this person just comes back to life. It was really crazy, and the doctors were like, "Hey, like, what did you take in the bathroom?" And he's like, "I didn't take anything." And it's, I'm sure they were embarrassed and had a lot of things going on in their life. So like, I'm not judging. It's just like, well, that Narcan like made your heart start beating again pretty quick. But yeah, that was a really crazy experience. And then after the fact, one of the security guards was like, "Hey, bro, next time just kick the door down." I was like, what? That was an option? I could have just kicked the door open and been like, "Hey, I'm here to save your life." But yeah, that older nurse always gave me crap for it after the fact. He made me like a little badge buddy that it had a pink side and a gray side, and on the pink side it said alive, and on the gray side it said dead. And I mean, it was hilarious. I still have it somewhere, but I'm like, his heart was beating when I first got there. Like, he wasn't dead. But anyhow, that was something that was crazy that happened to me, and I thought you guys might enjoy that.